Welcome back to SnowRunner, guys, and in this video, we are going to be going over a must-have map/vehicle combination on consoles in terms of console mods. And if that is something you're interested in, make sure you stick around for the rest of the video. Now, before we get into the playthrough of this map, I just want to go ahead and give you guys full disclosure that this is recorded on Xbox Series X, and we are going to be using the Lake Shiatro map with Frog's custom crawler, and those are the mods that you are going to need to have in order to replicate this scenario. With that being said, those mods, as of the recording this video, as of the time I record this video, should both be available on all systems, of course PC included, but should all be available on all consoles as well. Now, the first thing I wanted to get out of the way is the boost mission, which will go ahead and boost you up to rank 24, like literally right off the bat, and it'll give you a bunch of XP and a bunch of money, so you don't really have to worry about getting all that stuff out of the way or doing a bunch of tedious missions to be able to use your high-end off-road vehicles that, of course, you're going to want to use when you jump into a crawling-focused map like this. And, of course, after looking at the beautiful view from the watchtower, I decided to go into the garage and pick up the custom crawler. Haven't done it yet, but I will be. Now, I will say as well that this map and its starting area is definitely a masterclass in map design, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to not use the face cam in this footage, because I wanted you guys to get a pure view of what I was seeing on, literally a pure view of what I was seeing on my screen as I explored this map, because it looks absolutely beautiful, especially on the Xbox Series X. It's absolutely gorgeous. So, as you can see, we have a few different mods, but we settled on Frog's custom crawler for use in this scenario. Now, if you haven't really used Frog's custom crawler much, I should make you aware that both suspension options are active. So, even if you use the stock option, it does have an active suspension option to actually raise it up a good bit, and you're also running these really cool atomic axles that have this weird curve to them, but the cool thing about that is that it actually helps prevent you from getting stuck on rocks or ruts that might bump into the front of the diff case. So we did a very simple build on this, left it on its standard power level, and went with the 46-inch standard off-road tires, sort of just the standard crawler compound that Frog likes to use on most of his mods. Now, as we leave the garage, we will get ready to go up towards the radio tower. Now, when we head towards, weird visual glitch back there, by the way, as we head towards the radio tower, there are a lot of different obstacles that are on display, but not only will you get rocks, but you'll get trails, you'll get mud, you'll get a massive combination of all sorts of different types of obstacles that you're going to need to negotiate your way through. And as you can see, we have barely explored this map at all. Now, if you saw my video of this map when it first came out on PC, obviously there have been updates to the map since then, and there have been updates to not only the map itself, but sort of the visuals and just the way the map flows. And also, I wanted to switch into that con real quick because weird little pet peeve of mine, but I didn't like to see the suspension just floating there. I wanted it to actually have some weight to it, so I just switched into it so it would actually fall down to the ground and then just switch back into the crawler, just to kind of get that done and out of the way. Now, one of the coolest little visual aspects of this map is the fact that you have, like, your garage and your house all sort of in one little area, implying that, like, your character may as well live right here and have all of these crazy off-road trails at their footsteps, which, of course, in that regard, who wouldn't want to live right there? I mean, if you're all about off-roading and if you're all about, you know, taking an off-road vehicle out on the trails, dude, who wouldn't want to live there? So kicking off Scenic Climb, I went into interior view for a little while, and then I was like, you know what, I kind of want to do this in exterior view because I realized I was just driving off the edge of a cliff. But I do recommend, even if you don't use interior view very often in SnowRunner, I highly recommend using it in this thing. Last minute save right there, just like by the absolute tiniest margin saved it from rolling over. But I highly recommend spending some time in interior view when you're using this crawler because it's very well done, and you get that cool little Sparko steering wheel right there in front of you, but it's also kind of an immersive experience, really. I mean, if you're looking for a realistic off-road rock buggy crawler experience, this is definitely one of the closest ways to get to that, especially on consoles now. I mean, the fact that SnowRunner has mods on console basically opens you up to an entire new world of possibilities that no game really offers. I mean, some people will say, yeah, Farming Simulator offers console mods, and that's true, it does. However, you're not going to be playing around with the same type of things that you will in SnowRunner, the same type of vehicles, the same type of maps. It's a completely different type of thing. So, with that being said, I do think it's important to note that the console mods do react a little bit differently on some systems. I have seen some people reporting some odd issues on PS4, and I'm sure that the developers will push patches for all of those things a little bit later on as time goes on. But even now, as I record this video, I'm still kind of in shock that we have mods on consoles. I mean, if we look back into my history of running this channel, for example, we look back to the days of, say, MudRunner, for example, and back in those days, the idea of mods coming to the console version of a game like this was just kind of a distant dream, especially to me. I had no idea that this would ever become a thing, and you know, there was always these little tiny, like, grains of sand that would sometimes pop up that maybe there would be mods in a game like this on console in the future, or maybe this would happen, or maybe that would happen, and we really didn't even hear any kind of an announcement of a timeline for this game. We just kept hearing over and over and over again, they'll be coming soon, they'll be coming soon, they'll be coming soon. And then out of nowhere, all of a sudden, here we are. And the fact that these are here, totally mind-blowing. Absolutely 100% mind-blowing. Now, I would love to hear from you guys in the comment section down below on a couple of different things. One, have you tried this map and vehicle combo, and have you been enjoying it? But two, and more importantly, what system are you playing on, and have you experienced any technical issues? Your feedback will greatly impact what gets fixed from the developers, and that feedback being contributed directly to the developers helps them improve the game. And I notice how I said feedback, not necessarily like just bashing a certain aspect of the game. You know, instead of saying, oh, XYZ doesn't work, XYZ doesn't work, provide them with that feedback, tell them that it doesn't work, but also tell them in what scenario does it not work. Does something not work when you are running a certain combination of a vehicle and a map? Or is it always, or is it only on a specific system? The developers need that feedback, and by giving that feedback to the developers, they can therefore make the game better and make the game run better on whatever system is in question. Because of course, they'll be testing different systems differently, you know what I mean? And if a lot of problems are localized to a particular system, I'm sure they'll give that system a lot of that testing attention. So, back to the gameplay at hand, making our way up this rocky, bumpy hill, I decided to kind of leave it in low plus, which works really well with the standard power level. Like I said, I wanted to keep this a little bit more on the realistic side, so I decided not to throw the crazy engines in this thing. You can, and you'll get a much more over-the-top rock bouncer experience, but in my personal opinion, you can actually get a really good, really in-depth rock bouncer experience from using this thing with the standard engine and the off-road gearbox. And if you want to just bomb your way up a hill, throw the thing in high, you'll be good to go. Promoted yet again for completing that task, and now we're going to go ahead and make our way over to one of the next challenges that I really enjoyed, which was the river trail. Now, the river trail does have a little bit of an issue with these markers being a little bit small, in my opinion. However, I'm sure that was a development decision on the map creator's part, and so that's not me saying that that's a mistake. That's just me kind of observing that and observing the fact that you need to be very, very careful when you're running through this event in order to actually complete it properly, because if you don't hit these checkpoints perfectly, you will miss them and you will have to back up, as you will see a little bit later on in this challenge. But this is one of the most fun challenges I think we have on our hands in the console mod world right now in terms of SnowRunner, and I highly recommend all of you giving this a shot, you know, especially with Frog's Custom Crawler, Lake Shiatro, and then the River Trail. The River Trail, and honestly, you could time yourself. If you time yourself on the River Trail, we could literally get a sort of like leaderboard going on like who's got the fastest time on the river trail, and I'm sure that if you took the right line, you could probably bomb all the way through this in high and make it all the way to the end in a fairly short amount of time. Now, of course, I took my time going through here because it was my very first time going through here on consoles, and I just kind of wanted to take my time to look around at the scenery and see how everything was performing. And obviously, you know, everything performed really, really well here on the Series X, but yet again, if you guys are having any issues, please do report those to me in the comments below, and we can then in turn report those to the developers, or you can report them to the developers directly and help improve the game. So this also, I'm sure we could have gone up the center of the waterfall, and I don't know if that would have helped us or hurt us. It's probably one of those things where it's a risk versus reward type thing, so the risk could be very, very high, but you could potentially complete the trail a whole heck of a lot faster. Now, as you can see, some sections like this, while you will get damage from doing it, you can actually run through here and high with fairly little consequence, since this vehicle is actually designed to be able to take and withstand a lot of suspension damage before actually fully braking, way more than a standard in-game vehicle would. Now, that checkpoint back there was one of the weird ones where it seemed as though I drove right over it, but in reality, it actually didn't register until I backed up and drove over it again. Now, I didn't have that issue with any of the other checkpoints, but that one in particular I did, and I'm pretty sure that it was just a misstep on my part. I'm not, blaming that on the map by any means or in any way, shape, or form, but I do think that's something you should watch out for if you're going to be attempting this challenge anytime soon. Strange little barrel roll there. Not quite sure what happened. I know I dug the front axle into the ground and then spun the vehicle on its nose and then landed back down and kept going. And really the only places where you can't use high range are in the really, really, really deep water, or if you're going up something extremely steep and don't have a lot of run up. Did a little bit of a winch pull there, nothing too crazy, but made our way through the water and up to this trail on the left to head to the finish up there on the bridge. And like I said before, if you guys have not attempted this combination of map and vehicle on consoles yet, I highly recommend doing it because in my opinion, it is a must-have combination. It is definitely a must-play. And if you have not done it yet, or if you have and you really enjoyed it, let me know in the comment section below. That's going to do it for this video in SnowRunner on consoles. And if you enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments. And subscribe if you're new. Turn those notifications on, and I'll see you guys next time.